Hi, my name is Martha. Welcome back to my booktube channel. I know it's been long, but it's also been a hard 2 weeks. And yeah, actually, I don't know if it's been 2 weeks, depending on when I will put this up. But I've just been feeling unmotivated and not really up to making up videos. But today I feel better. And I just thought I should just make a video when I'm in this high. So today's look is inspired by Children of Virtue and Vengeance. As you can see, the blue pages and the red detail on the scarf. And I picked this up again. I hope to be done with it this month. I was actually, I should have been done with it this a long time ago, but things just kept happening and stuff. And I don't know. I just have to get this read. So far, I'm not feeling the joy that I felt in Children of Blood and Bone itself. It's kind of despair. Like everyone is kind of just sad and angry, and um I'm mad with everyone. Like nobody is like there's no light basically anywhere, and Inan is just Inaning as usual. He's he's an incompetent. He's just a confused guy. Like this everybody's just confused. Nobody knows what exactly they want, and it's very frustrating to me. The most frustrating person is Inan. I mean, what's new, nothing changed, same old shit, same old fucking shit.
Nothing new, nothing changed, same old shit. Same old fucking
Like, Inan, give us another thing, like come up with something else.
Can you come up with something else? Can you come up with something else?
Like, is it every day? Like, you are annoying. Bye. Move. Let's continue with the other story. Okay, that's my mini Inan rant done. So I'm gonna continue on with my March wrap up. So the first book I read in March was The Sisters Are All Right by Tamara Winfrey Harris. This is a book about the stereotypes, harmful stereotypes that are attributed to Black women in America. For example, the mommy, the Jezebel, the sapphire, and yeah, kind of those things. So, I mean, the topic wasn't new to me since I was already kind of introduced to it in Ain't I a Woman, and also the Sister Outsider, which I should have my review after I do this. I promise to have it up. But yeah, the topic isn't new to me. I've encountered generally a lot of the things through my experiences and also through being on Twitter and stuff. But maybe what was new was the experiences of older Black women. At the end of each chapter, you hear there's a list of moments or in all right for Black women, and how Black women are actually doing all right. It's not everyday doom and gloom and stuff. While the topic wasn't new to me, I liked that I got to see new perspectives on things. But I won't say too much about this book, so I will have a review up for it. I keep saying I will have reviews and I've not filmed them, but I promise to have them. Just have like take it like just give me some nah just give me room and I will have them. Like, I feel like I can have a better quality of review if I am actually excited about what I'm talking about. So just chill, like it's marinating, it's coming. So yeah, the next book I read was In 5 Years by Rebecca Searle or Surly. I don't know. This was an arc that I received from NetGalley. I gave it, actually, The Sisters All Right is 4 stars, and this one is 3.8 stars. Okay, so it's a book about this woman who goes to sleep with her fiance, then wakes up and finds herself in some stranger's bed, and under some straight like she jumps 5 years forward and finds herself in a stranger's bed, and just and finds herself with another ring and another man, and then she sleeps with him, and then jumps back into the future, into the past, into the present, that is. And so it's kind of like the story is geared towards, I mean, now 5 years later, she ends up meeting the same guy. So, yeah. But I should warn that the story is not really about romance. It is about friendship, and there's a beautiful friendship written in this book, from the lead character and another female character. In my opinion, I don't even think it should have been a romance. It should have been just about the friends. Probably, if it had to be romance, probably an FF romance, because their bond, their sisterhood was so strong. I shouldn't probably say sisterhood if I am trying to promote an FF romance, but the the way it was written, like, it was so moving whenever you would see the scenes of them together, and those relationships were much stronger than any love interest. And I really feel like all the love interests in the book didn't need to be there. Also, the aspect of, I mean, though, i don't I don't know how I can discuss this without spoiling it, but okay, so in the book, there's a particular trope that the writer has, used for, tearjerker, and to get them the 5 stars, to get us all to cry. And I'm not an exception. I mean, I cried when I read this book. It was so close to me. I felt like it's something that can happen to me, something that I something that has been in the back of my mind, something that can be in any woman's mind, or any vagina having person's mind, because the issues were kind of the health issues were kind of close to me personally. I don't know about anybody else, but yeah, I was scared. I'm not gonna lie, and I felt very affected reading this book, and I actually felt emotional reading the book. But I feel like sometimes when you write about some of these diseases and health issues, you're kind of trivializing or glamorizing. I am not sure whether it is glamorizing to write about something that can happen in real life, but this particular thing has been written about over and over again, and I'm not sure where we draw the line, and why we have to use it as a plot device to garner sympathy for, I mean, to I mean, just to get us to feel emotional. Like, why? And I don't think that all stories involving someone who is terminally ill, or who is about to die, or just things like that. I don't think that it has to be this um grand I mean, it doesn't have to be this grand story of, of trials and tribulations and stuff. And doesn't also have to be this tear-jacking fest that we are we are engaging in. There are a lot of stories about people surviving, about people ringing that bell, and I love seeing stories like that. I love seeing on Twitter those stories about people um, posting videos of them ringing the bell when they are cancer free. Okay, now the cat's out of the bag. It is about cancer, but I'm not to mention the type of cancer. So if you want to know, just go and read it for yourself. But yeah, I just feel like we can have the stories of hope to balance out the stories of tragedy as well. And yeah, yeah, that's basically it. And also, I just felt like, because at first I thought it was about romance, then the whole cancer aspect was cheapening the actual story of friendship, because I was like, so you're gonna use your poor friend to get this guy? Like, that is so messed up. Anyway, I don't know. Other people may love it, other people may hate it, other people may think it's meh, but I think this is kind of gonna be a polarizing book. I feel like if it's very popular, we might be having the same discourse with this book as we had with Me Before You, but that's kind of how I feel. But one thing I like was the main character was this ambitious woman. She was a lawyer, and that was kind of important to her, and she maintained that throughout the book, even when she was with a partner, even when she was helping her friend, with her illness, and even when she was, she maintained it. Like, she didn't have to choose between a promotion and her obligation, a promotion and her obligations to her family or friends. Like, she just maintained that side of her, and she loved that side of her as well. Often in stories about ambitious women or career driven women, it's always this thing of, I hate my job, and now I should drop it all for a man, drop it all for a friend, drop it all for family. And or you don't really, or they don't really enjoy the job, or the job they do. For example, she's a corporate lawyer, so corporate lawyers are always written as these high strung people who don't love any part of their job and would rather be in the DA's office fighting for justice and for the downtrodden person or whatever. But this is a woman who enjoys corporate law, who enjoys writing her contracts, who enjoys, she doesn't need to be the suits lawyer. She can just be the person, right, drawing up the contracts and enjoying what she does, which I very much appreciated. Next book I read was The Descent of Man by Grayson Perry. I don't even know where I saw this book from. I must have been watching an Ain't I a Woman book review, because I am obsessed with bell hooks. So I think I saw it in a comment about, feminist books and stuff. So I was like, oh, a feminist book written by a man sounds interesting. So I listened to this on Audible. So this is a book about masculinity and what kind of version of masculinity should look like, what it has looked like before, why this is not viable anymore, and why it would be better to move forward in our versions of masculinity. So Perry talks about the default man, who referring to the white man in power, basically. And I mean, he regurgitated a lot of points that have already been given by feminists. I mean, talking about women being in power, women should do this and that, women should represent here instead of the default white man or whatever. I mean, I've heard these points before, but I guess maybe it'll come to be received better from a man to men. Yeah, so he talked about that, and he also talked about the department of masculinity and what kind of things are in the department of masculinity, in clothing, in how they should act, in how they should, what activities they should do, what kinds of, things that they have been sold to do. And yeah, one interesting point that he brought up was when he spoke about how men's rights activists and feminists used to work together at some point. But he said, one thing he says is that it's now evolved into a thing where they blame feminism for this false sense of masculinity that was packaged to them by a few men in power. And instead of, actively blaming these men in power for selling to them this false package of masculinity that they're supposed to aspire to, or instead of trying to break that system, they find it easier to blame feminists and women. And that was quite interesting coming from him. One thing I should say though is the Grayson Perry himself is a straight white man, so I'm not sure what kind of nuance he could give. I think he tried to other himself by saying he's also a transvestite, which, well, okay, I guess. I mean, he says he's from a working class background, but I suspect he's now in a middle class background, because he says he's an artist and has won all these awards. So I don't know, he could be in a speaking still from a comfortable position. I wonder what someone from another race, from another current class would think about this book. I also wonder if some of the traits that he spoke about were inherently bad, like ambition or competitiveness, or were they inherent or nurtured, or are they exclusively masculine? I've heard these points before, but I still feel like I need to know what men in particular think of it. I don't know. I'd probably recommend this to men to hear from a man so that they say that it's so they don't say that it's women writing about men again and take up the conversation of masculinity themselves. I mean, this is a great conversation starter, I think. Okay, the next one is, oh yeah, before that, I should say I think he could have used more nuance also when he was speaking about crime and violence, because he said he didn't have any sympathy for them, which I found a bit sad. And I was like, okay, so if you want men to have a better version of masculinity, I don't know, like I don't know, he didn't completely interrogate whether these boys who are involved in crime and violence have, you know, been that way because of a packaged masculinity that was given to them, or that they have developed by raising each other because they don't have father figures in their lives and stuff. I don't know. I just felt like all that needed a bit nuance, because he was still coming to talk to these boys from a better position in life than he was when he was younger. So yeah, I guess it's a good conversation starter for men. I guess anyone can read it. I guess it's feminist, but it was I think it was refreshing. It wasn't what I thought it would have been. Like it was quite open for, you know, a book about masculinity by a man. There, that's all I can say. I think I give it like 3 stars though. So yeah. um the next book was With the Fire on High by Elizabeth Acevedo. Like, oh, Elizabeth Acevedo owns my heart. She has like she is an autobi author. I am like I will buy anything she writes. I don't care. I will read her grocery list. I will read anything that she writes. As in, this book was totally I don't even have words. This book was so beautiful. She writes these, her lead characters are so carefully written with so much empathy, so much care, so much kindness, and they don't slack. They don't suffer from another brighter second lead, from another brighter second character. They are fierce on their own right. They are brave on their own right. They are beautiful in their own right. They stand up for themselves. They are ambitious. They, you know, I don't know, like her characters have just moved me, and they're so gentle. And not we've not even gotten to her love interests, who are compassionate, gentle, kind. I can gush forever about Elizabeth Acevedo, but I won't do much because I want to do a full review of this book. But just know that it was another balm to my soul. I sound corny saying it, but she just gets you. Like, Elizabeth Acevedo just knows how to get you, and yeah, like all the feels again. The next book I read was Woman at Point Zero by Nawal El Sadawi. This is a creative fiction written by Sadawi about a woman who wants to die, basically. She is on death row and she's been offered a plea deal and she doesn't want to take it. She wants to die. So, Sadawi is curious and wants to know her story and goes to the prison to speak to her. So, Fardus, who is the main character, finally speaks to her and tells her story. So, Fardus is a woman who has lived in this restrictive patriarchy and has been failed by men over and over, and she is violated by it continuously, and the story just goes from worse to worser.
It went from worse to worser.
And she just goes from situation to situation, like into the pan, out of the frying pan, into the fire, into the volcano. Like Fardus is just failed each and every step of her life, from childhood to adulthood. She is violated by her relatives, by her husband. Then when she leaves, violated by strange men, gets into prostitution, leaves, goes back into, leaves prostitution because she desires respectability, and she desires this false sense of respectability after getting this also false sense of agency when she was doing her sex work, but then desires respectability. And when she does that, then she goes into what does she do? An office job. And when she's in the office job, she realizes that respectability is worse than what she faced as a sex worker. So she decides to go to sex work and finds that respectability wasn't good. Like, now she finds this real sense of agency, ironically, in sex work, even though it's still restrictive and men still want to control her, but she's in a more powerful place. And we see how how all the events in her life bring her all to point zero, where she feels like ending it is what will complete her revenge on all the men who have violated her. And this will be like her final act of rebellion and revenge, kind of thing. And so you see so there, here we are looking at what so here in this book we're kind of thinking about mental health implications about this. Is it a good idea for her to just end it all? Should she have tried again? Or also there's this aspect of Sadawi being the writer, like she's writing Fardus's story. So it's like, is Fardus an unreliable narrator because she is at the point of death, or is Sadawi the unreliable narrator because she's the one writing the story? So we don't know. And then it's like, it's questionable, because is Sadawi a bad psychologist because she was a psychologist in real life? So is she a bad psychologist for not telling this woman not to kill herself? Did she face some vicarious trauma by listening to her story? Did she take her side? So these are the questions that were going through my mind. And at first I kind of went along with her conviction to die, and her conviction to, to get back that bit of freedom, which might have been an illusion of freedom. Or is it just, she was just not in a healthy place? Did she not cope with it healthily? Was she even could you even say, with all the circumstances that happens to her, could you even say that there's anything to do with health going on? Because everything that happens is so terrible and never ever stops. It goes on and on and on. And you see how religion is particularly toxic in this context, and how even love and life is taken from her, even from both evil men and good men, nice guys, all those kinds of people. And it gave me a lot to think about. It was radically and apologetically feminist, and altogether wonderful. Also very hard to read and hard to listen to, because I also listened to this on Audible, but I think it's something I will return to, something I might return to, because it got me thinking and stuff. And yeah, yeah, usually I don't like prose writing, but this was gave me a lot to engage with. It was quite highly complex and stuff, and I think I will go in more into Sadawi's works and read more of them, because she writes in this very frank, stark manner and very realistic, or highly realistic. What do you even call it? I don't know. Is there like a high fantasy for nonfiction? Because this is like so unreal. It was almost. Is this like magical realism? I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm just talking shit. The last book I read was The Curious Incident of the Dog in the Nighttime by Mark Haddon. Um, I think this is about a boy who witnessed a dog getting killed and wants to find out the mystery of who did it. So it follows him as he tries to solve this mystery. Um, I don't know. It I don't know. Like, it seems like a lot of people enjoyed it, but I gave it like 3 stars. I find it quite meh. I found the mystery quite meh. I don't know. It might be bad for saying this. I didn't like the writing style, but I mean, I don't know. It was written in a perspective of a boy who has autism, which, I mean, it was quite interesting to see his what goes through his mind, what goes through his kinds of his thoughts, and how he processes things, and how he's very logical and mathematical and stuff. But I didn't quite enjoy it, and it might be terrible to say, but it's I mean, different strokes for different folks. It wasn't an On Voices book though, so yeah. Yeah, I mean, it was okay. I think that maybe the problem with me is the mystery aspect. I don't enjoy reading mystery, so I guess ah, I was just like, it was, I guessed the who done it before it happened. So, you know, what can you do? So yeah, it seems like the light has now dimmed, and we're looking like we're in nighttime. So I will end this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.
This is where I feel. This is where